The Himalayas, majestic, serene, breathtaking. These towering giants have stood as silent sentinels for millennia, witnessing the ebb and flow of human history. Their snow-capped peaks and tranquil valleys have long been a symbol of peace and natural beauty, drawing travelers and adventurers from all corners of the globe. But on April 22, 2025, terror shattered the peace. The serenity of the Himalayas was abruptly broken by the sound of gunfire and chaos. What was supposed to be a day of exploration and wonder turned into a nightmare. Gunmen opened fire at a popular tourist spot in Indian-administered Kashmir. The attack was sudden and brutal, leaving visitors and locals alike in a state of shock and disbelief. The once bustling area filled with laughter and the chatter of tourists was now eerily silent, marked by the presence of armed soldiers and police tape. 26 innocent lives were lost. Families were devastated. The grief was palpable as communities came together to mourn the victims. Candlelight vigils were held and memorials were erected in honor of those who had perished. The pain of losing loved ones in such a senseless act of violence was felt deeply by all. The world watched in horror. News of the attack spread rapidly, with media outlets around the globe covering the tragic event. People everywhere were glued to their screens, trying to make sense of the senseless. The images of the aftermath were haunting, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. This horrific act is a stark reminder of the volatile relationship between India and Pakistan. The two nations, with their long and complicated histories, have often found themselves at odds. The attack reignited tensions, bringing the fragile peace between them into question once more. The question on everyone's mind, could this be the spark that ignites a larger conflict? The fear of escalation loomed large, with many wondering if this incident would lead to a broader confrontation. The stakes were high, and the world held its breath, hoping for a resolution that would prevent further bloodshed. This is not just another news story. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of violence. Journalists on the ground reported tirelessly, bringing the harsh realities of the situation to light. The headlines were a grim reflection of the times we live in. This is about two nuclear-armed neighbors, their intertwined histories, and a conflict that has haunted generations. The shadow of past conflicts looms large, and the path to peace remains fraught with challenges. As the world watches, the hope for a peaceful resolution endures, even in the face of adversity. India and Pakistan share a past marked by bloodshed and mistrust. The roots of their troubled relationship can be traced back to the partition of British India in 1947. The partition of British India in 1947 led to one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Millions were displaced from their homes, forced to leave behind their lives and belongings. Violence erupted on an unprecedented scale, with communal riots breaking out across the newly formed borders. The wounds of that separation still run deep. Families were torn apart, and the memories of those harrowing days continue to haunt the collective consciousness of both nations. Out of the ashes of colonialism rose two new nations, forever bound by their shared history and divided by their differences. India and Pakistan embarked on their respective journeys as independent states, but the shadow of partition loomed large over their futures. At the heart of this troubled relationship lies the disputed region of Kashmir. This picturesque land, nestled in the Himalayas, has been a flashpoint for conflict since the very inception of the two nations. A land of stunning beauty, it has become a battleground for these two nations. The lush valleys and serene lakes of Kashmir are now overshadowed by the presence of military forces and the echoes of gunfire. 3 wars have been fought over Kashmir. Each conflict has left deep scars, not just on the land, but on the hearts and minds of the people. Countless lives have been lost. Soldiers and civilians alike have paid the ultimate price in this protracted struggle. And still, the conflict continues. The region remains a tinderbox, with frequent skirmishes and a constant state of tension. The dream of peace seems elusive as both nations grapple with their past and strive for a future free from the shadows of their troubled history. Kashmir is a region of immense strategic importance. Both India and Pakistan claim it in full but control only parts. This unresolved dispute fuels tensions and feeds a climate of fear and uncertainty. The people of Kashmir are caught in the middle, longing for peace and stability. The recent attack in Pahalgam has only served to escalate tensions. India blames Pakistan-based terrorist groups. Pakistan denies any involvement. The truth, as always, is shrouded in a fog of accusations and denials. Terrorism casts a long shadow over India-Pakistan relations. India accuses Pakistan of harboring and supporting militant groups operating in Kashmir. Pakistan, in turn, points to human rights violations by Indian security forces in the region. This blame game has become a dangerous cycle, pushing the two nations further apart. The recent attack is a chilling reminder of the human cost of this conflict. Innocent lives are lost, families are torn apart, and the cycle of violence continues. Section 5. Military muscles and diplomatic deadlocks. Both India and Pakistan possess formidable military capabilities, including nuclear arsenals. The recent tensions have led to increased military posturing and deployments along the border. The risk of miscalculation, of a small incident spiraling out of control, is a constant threat. On the diplomatic front, the situation is equally bleak. Dialogue between the two countries has stalled. Trust is in short supply. The international community watches with growing concern, urging both sides to show restraint and engage in meaningful dialogue. Section 6. The Indus Water Treaty, a lifeline at risk. Adding fuel to the fire, India has taken the unprecedented step of suspending the Indus Water Treaty. This move has not only escalated tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbours, but has also raised concerns globally. The treaty, which has been a cornerstone of peace and cooperation between India and Pakistan for over 6 decades, is now hanging by a thread. Experts are debating the potential consequences of this suspension, with some fearing it could lead to a full-blown water crisis in the region. This treaty, brokered by the World Bank in 1960, governs the sharing of water from the Indus River system. It was hailed as a diplomatic triumph at the time, a rare example of cooperation in a region often fraught with conflict. The Indus River system, which includes the Indus and its 5 tributaries, is a vital water source for both countries. The treaty allocates the waters of the 3 eastern rivers to India and the 3 western rivers to Pakistan, ensuring a fair distribution of this precious resource. It is a lifeline for Pakistan, where the Indus and its tributaries irrigate vast agricultural lands. These lands are the backbone of Pakistan's economy, providing livelihoods for millions of farmers and contributing significantly to the country's food security. Without the waters of the Indus, much of Pakistan's agriculture would wither, leading to economic hardship and potential food shortages. The suspension of the treaty threatens to disrupt this delicate balance, putting immense pressure on Pakistan's already strained resources. India's decision to suspend the treaty has sent shockwaves through Pakistan. The news has been met with widespread disbelief and anger, with many viewing it as an act of aggression. Protests have erupted in several cities, with citizens demanding that their government take immediate action to protect their water rights. The situation is further complicated by the fact that both countries have a history of mistrust and conflict, making any resolution to this crisis even more challenging. Is this a negotiating tactic or a sign of things to come? Analysts are divided on the issue. Some believe that India is using the suspension as leverage to gain concessions on other contentious issues such as border disputes and terrorism. Others fear that this could be the beginning of a more aggressive stance by India, one that could lead to further escalation and even military conflict. The stakes are incredibly high, and the world is watching closely to see how this situation unfolds. The implications are enormous, not just for India and Pakistan, but for the entire region. Water is a critical resource, and any disruption to its availability can have far-reaching consequences. Neighboring countries are also concerned about the potential fallout, as any conflict between India and Pakistan could destabilize the entire South Asian region. The international community is urging both sides to return to the negotiating table and find a peaceful resolution to this crisis. The future of millions of people depends on it. Section 7. The world watches and worries. The international community is watching the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan with growing alarm. The United Nations has called for restraint and dialogue. World leaders are urging both sides to step back from the brink. The stakes are simply too high for another war. The situation is complex and fraught with danger, but one thing is clear: the world cannot afford another conflict between India and Pakistan. The human cost would be immeasurable, the consequences for regional and global security catastrophic. Section 8. Can peace prevail? The path to peace between India and Pakistan is long and arduous. Mistrust runs deep. Historical grievances fester, but amidst the despair there are glimmers of hope. Civil society organizations on both sides are working tirelessly to build bridges of understanding. People-to-people contacts continue, defying the political climate. The recent events are a stark reminder of the fragility of peace, but they also underscore the urgent need for dialogue, for reconciliation, for a future where India and Pakistan can coexist peacefully as neighbors, not enemies. Section 9. Join the conversation. The situation between India and Pakistan is constantly evolving. We need your voice in this crucial conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and for a deeper understanding of the historical backdrop to this conflict, watch our video on the tumultuous history of India-Pakistan relations.